We need a new national conversation about race, about what it means when nearly every race in America carries around an implicit racial bias that subconsciously prefers another race over the other in a social setting. It's time for a change.
Okay. Asians are ranked the worst drivers and tend to get in the most accidents. Why do you think Asians tend to get in the most accidents?
Maybe because I'm not sure if they drive on opposite sides, depending on where their countries and their cultures are. So that may be a reason why.
I was like, do you feel uncomfortable or threatened when you see or buy an Asian driver on the road?
No.
No. I lied. 58% of accidents were caused by white people and only 18% were caused by Asians. Why do you think the stereotype that Asians are bad drivers exists?
I honestly don't know. Someone just created it and everyone just rolled with it.
What can we do better to get rid of the stereotype from happening?
Us ourselves, not stereotypes.
For us ourselves, not
Yeah.
the stereotype?
If we don't walk around saying, oh, you Asians are the bad drivers, then the next person won't and it won't carry on, it'll stop.
Thank you. If I ask you what a typical drug user looks like, what comes to mind?
Man, within our community, I say like the black community, a black person does, because like just the way we use weed, marijuana, and all these other types of drugs, like it kind of manipulates us and it's kind of stuck in our systems.
Why do you believe black people look like the typical drug user?
It really is seen as a stereotype. I wouldn't say like typical like drug user, but I would say like it's kind of seen like we're putting that limelight because it's kind of seen like we're thugs and like that's all we do. But some of it's because like for people to survive, some people have to sell drugs, some people have to do that. So that's how it's putting that typical limelight.
Do you ever feel uneasy around your black friends or family because they might offer you drugs one day?
No.
Okay, I lied about the first thing. Most people are surprised to learn that African American youth are significantly less likely to use tobacco, alcohol, than Hispanics or Americans. Why do you think the stereotype that black people are accepted as drug users exists?
It's kind of seen like, because that's the narrative that's kind of painted. Like I feel like people see like for us to like be able to do things, we have to be medicated and we have to be able to with even like the rap scene and all these other different things, like people like that's the expectation when it's comes to all these people using all these drugs like marijuana, Xanax, all these different things. Like that's the narrative that's painted. So I feel like kind of what's put out to the media and what's put out to the world, and that's the stereotype people are gonna see it as.
What can we do better to get rid of stereotyping from happening?
That's deep because it really ties in like it's like systematic. So like it's been happening for generations over generations. So but to start, we need to start just treating people like they're people. No matter we don't look at race, but we all bleed one color. We all bleed red. So that's how we got to see it as. We can't look at somebody and see a black male as a thug just because he's a black male, or see like vice versa. We just got to come together as one. But it's gonna take time. It's gonna take effort, but it's got to start somewhere.
Thank you. 75% of Latinos are in the landscaping industry. Why do you believe Latinos lead the landscaping industry?
I feel like they lead the landscaping industry because not a lot of them are brought up within like the riches and like the top percent of the country that are wealthy, and I feel like they follow their stereotype. I don't know. I just think they follow within their kind of own building and what they've been throughout the years.
Well, I actually lied. It's actually 16%. Why do you feel the stereotype that Latinos only do landscaping exists?
I don't know. They've just been I don't know, because a lot of that history comes from some of the illegal immigrants that come over and they can't really do a lot of jobs besides like under the counter like transactions and stuff like that without getting caught up. So that's like an easy way for them to have some type of money in business.
What can we do? All right, since 2008, 150 terrorist attacks were done by Islamists. Why do you believe Islamists are considered terrorists? Because they did 9/11. Do you ever feel uncomfortable or threatened when around an Islamist in public? No. I lied. 150 terrorist attacks have been done by white people, and only 65 have been done by Islamists. Why do you think the stereotype that Islamists are terrorists exists? Because it all started after 9/11. Have you ever been a victim, or have you ever seen somebody be a victim to stereotyping? If so, can you give an example?
I have been a victim of stereotyping, and and I have seen family members being stereotyped and students being stereotyped. For example, my husband went to the DMV and they gave him a paper ticket instead of a real ticket, and he was sitting there like thinking, why did they give me a little paper? This has just happened like 2 weeks ago. And so that feeling of being stereotyped, there is no way that you can deny it.
How do you feel about racial stereotyping happening in our world today?
It's really sad to be able to witness and to be able to feel that. It's sad because this is not how we should be. I think we should be united, and it doesn't matter what race, what nationality, what color skin you have, and it's basically uniting in Lakesh, working together for the common good of them. Unfortunately, it's not the way. It's not the way that I see it right now.
What can we do better to get rid of stereotyping from happening?
I think the best way to do it is to model, is to actually do it ourselves and not wait for somebody else to do it. To take initial steps today. I'm gonna smile at you and I'm gonna say, good morning, how are you? ¿Cómo estás, Prince? Nice to meet you. And seeing them in the eye to eye, really, and really acknowledging the person for who they are, not for the stereotype that I project in my head.
Have you ever been a victim, or have you seen anybody be a victim to stereotyping? If so, can you give an example?
I've seen many incidents of stereotyping. I grew up in South Sacramento, very diverse, and I heard and I saw a lot of things. But closer to me, my son, so he's half white, he's half Mexican, and in elementary school it's, you don't speak Spanish, you're not Mexican enough, or you look this or you look that. And so even with him as a 10-year-old, I'm watching him have to go through it right now in school.
Okay. And how do you feel about racial stereotyping happening at our school?
I never like to see it. I hate seeing it. It serves no place. I think many kids do it in a way to have fun or to make themselves feel a little bit better, but you just don't know when you say the wrong thing and how people are going to internalize it. A lot of teenagers will laugh and go, oh yeah, that was funny, but it hurts them. They go home and it's something that can be confusing or hurtful to them, and there's just no place for it. There's better ways to have fun with one another than to say things that are degrading or hurtful.
And last one, what can we do better to get rid of stereotyping from happening?
Just got to have respect for one another. Again, we have to find better ways to communicate with one another versus using certain language that we think is okay because we hear it in music, we see it in movies, and we kind of look at it as, hey, how we doing? And just, you think you're with your boys or your friends, but you just have to have more respect for one another. If you truly are friends, then you should have enough respect to talk to them in a different way, or to be open-minded on how we talk with one another. It's really communication and just having respect for one another.
Thank you, Mr. Becker.
Cool.